Welcome to r/slash relationship advice, where OP finds out that his girlfriend is mega rich. I'm a 24-year-old guy, and my 24-year-old girlfriend is rich and has never worked a day in her life. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I've been dating my girlfriend for about 5 months. From the beginning, I knew that she was wealthier than me because she doesn't have a roommate and has a new car. She told me she worked at a company nearby. Well, last week I met her parents, and a few days ago she told me that she's been lying to me. She's way richer than she let on. The apartment is a fake apartment. Not in the sense that she doesn't have the lease, but she doesn't live there. She pays for an entire apartment just to seem poorer than she really is. She lives in an ungodly large house, and her car isn't her normal car. She normally drives a Porsche, and she doesn't work at the company. Her dad is the CEO. She doesn't work at all. I talked to her a bit more about how her finances work, and here's basically how she explained it to me. She has more money in her accounts than I'll likely ever make in my life. But she, for the most part, just sends her credit card bills to her dad. So she basically has uncapped spendings. She went to college just for fun. There were some signs that she was lying, but I sort of ignored them. Her car seemed unused, and her apartment seemed too clean and empty to be used. But she said she was a neat freak and hires a cleaning service, so I just took her at her word. She says during the day that she just does basically whatever she wants. Sometimes she'll play video games all day, sometimes she'll go out with friends, sometimes she'll just take a day trip just wherever her heart desires. I can't imagine living like that. I mean, it seems like a dream. She's literally never worked before. Not even a summer job. She's really sweet and we share a lot of interests, but I don't know if I can be with someone who literally has never had a stressor of any meaning, because she'll always have enough money to buy her way out of any situation. Plus, I have no clue how it would work in the long term. If we got married, would I still work? I'm already feeling resentful that she just does nothing during the day and I'm working. I have no clue what to do. We've been doing really well up until this point. OP, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I really see the problem here. It sounds like the biggest issue here is just you think it's kinda weird that she has so much money. And so what if she doesn't work during the day? Should she? If you had $100 million or whatever sitting in the bank, would you go to work? If anything, I don't think the money is the problem, but instead her lying. I have to wonder, is she lying because she's a deceptive person? Or is she just lying because she's afraid that any potential lover is only after her money, so she pretends to be poor to weed out any gold diggers? I say just roll with it, OP. She doesn't sound like a bad person, and it doesn't really sound like it's affecting your relationship at all. So I'm a 22-year-old black woman. I live with my younger brother who's 16 years old. He lives with me and not our parents, because our parents kicked him out for having drugs on him multiple times. Anyways, that's just a little background info, I guess, just in case you were going to ask why he lives with me. So anyway, the problem is with his girlfriend that pretty much comes over every day. This has happened multiple times where she eats my food that's in the refrigerator. I've told my brother not to let her do it since I'm at work when she comes over, but I guess he never does. Yesterday, since I was tired of it, I told my brother straight up that she couldn't come over anymore. I told him that she's eaten my food way too many times, and since he's not going to tell her not to, she just can't come over anymore. He told me that my replaceable food isn't worth more than his relationship and needs. I told him that I don't care about his needs and that it's more so about the principle of it. You don't eat someone else's food, especially when you're a visitor. I told him again not to bring her over ever again, and that they could just hang out in the park or something. He replied that he knew it wasn't just about the food and that I was really just jealous of her long, silky hair, and that I'm mad because I look like a burnt Mr. Clean. Yes, his girlfriend is white, and yes, I chopped off all my hair. I'm a bit insecure about it, so what he said really hurt me. I didn't say anything else because I was so close to bursting out in tears. I just walked back to my room, slammed the door, and cried into my pillow, very softly for a little bit. What do I do? I don't want to kick him out because he's only 16, and I don't think he'll have anywhere to go. I feel like I would be a bad sister if I did that, especially since we're black, so I feel like I should really look out for him. Down in the comments, I'm going to read this post from Ruthless Bunny because I think they really nailed it. Sit down with him and tell him, "You're my brother and I love you. I love you too much to let you pull this garbage on me. You aren't my child, and it's not my job to put a roof over your head and to buy groceries for you and your girlfriend. I work for my money. And you're sitting around my house being disrespectful to me and effing your girlfriend? You need to get a job and start contributing. You need to be on track to graduate, and you for sure need to stop being a butthole to me. You already screwed up your relationship with mom and dad, and you're 90% on your way to screwing up your relationship with me. If it's too hard to live here, I can call Child Protective Services and have them take you into foster care. This is your decision, not mine. So what's it gonna be? School, job and respect, or foster care? Right now you're just enabling him. Is he going to school and getting good grades? Is he working? Make him pay for his rent. He's just an underage mooch. He's gonna keep being a mooching man if he doesn't turn it around. I'm a 24-year-old female, and my 26-year-old boyfriend almost got me fired from my job. I won't disclose my job position as I'm attempting to stay anonymous, but I work with client files that can contain sensitive information. And since COVID, I've been working from home with a company computer. I got a call a few weeks ago, and it was my supervisor as well as HR and our department manager. They called me into the corporate building to come in and talk, so I knew it was serious. They kept asking me if I knew a Lindsay Parks. I was confused and said no, and they told me that I had opened her file without authorization. I'm not allowed to deal with files for people that I know or open files that I'm not assigned to. I was confused and denied it because I really didn't know this person, so they opened the file to see if there was any associated party on the file that I know. And lo and behold, my boyfriend's name was listed as an associate party. I had to tell them that that was my boyfriend, and they said they were going to place me on suspension until they investigate. I got home, and when my boyfriend got home, I told him what happened. He got a bit red in the face and then admitted that he used Lindsay's number to look up her file and see if there were any updates, as he knew I worked for the company and that she hadn't heard from them and wanted to check out her file. I told him this wasn't okay and that I'm probably gonna get fired for his carelessness. And who was this Lindsay, and why was he listed as an associate party on her file? He said she was just a friend and then went back to saying how it wasn't his fault, and that he didn't know I'd get in trouble, and that I shouldn't have made my work password something he'd know. They finished their investigation, and after my boyfriend confessed, I had surprisingly gotten my job back. I've since been working in an empty office at the corporate building because they don't want anything similar happening again. Communication with my boyfriend has been very limited, except for when it pertains to our daughter. I feel like he tried gaslighting me, and this situation is just making me feel extremely uneasy. This guy hacked your computer and risked your career for a girl that you've never heard of before? This is extremely suspicious, and your boyfriend is sending up some major red flags, OP. I'll preface this by saying that I love my husband, and I'll do anything it takes to stay with him until the end. We dated for 2 years before marrying last year, and before him, my life was a mess. Now I'm the happiest person alive with him, and I never want this relationship to end. I'll use fake names for my husband, John, who's 32, and his brother, Brian, who's 35. To start, this all began a year ago before the wedding. My brother-in-law Brian has always been a screw-up his entire life, but 2 years ago he sobered up and moved in with John's parents. John's father owns a car dealership and is quite wealthy. John grew up quite rich but never liked that lifestyle and decided to become a nurse instead of working for his father. Brian started working at the dealership and has turned his life around, according to John's parents. I'd met him a few times and he creeped me out and was very inappropriate. He commented about my butt and even tried to grope me once, but John stopped him. I was very adamant before the wedding about not inviting Brian. John has a strong relationship with both of his parents, and it's one of the reasons why I admire him. So when John's parents refused to attend if Brian couldn't come, then I gave in and invited Brian. This is where everything went wrong. The wedding was amazing, but Brian came up with this so-called prank. He found a half-full can of red paint in the church utility closet and thought it would be funny to dump it on me after the ceremony. When I went to the bathroom, he jumped around the corner and splashed the paint all over me and the dress. I was hysterical and wanted to call the cops on Brian. John calmed me down and kicked Brian out of the wedding. A bridesmaid lived nearby and I used her shower and she lent me a dress to wear. From then on, I've never talked or been near Brian. John is very understanding, but every year insists that we go to his parents for Thanksgiving and Christmas. He won't budge and says that he can't cut his parents out of his life. However, Brian is still living with his parents and attended Thanksgiving and Christmas with them last year. I somehow got through last year never going near Brian and staying next to John the entire time. Last week, I got sent a dick pic, then a text following saying, "I bet you mine is bigger than my brother's." I don't know how he got a hold of my brother, and I was disgusted beyond all belief. I wanted again to call the cops, but John told me that would just allow for Brian to torment us more. Yesterday, I told John that I won't attend Thanksgiving or Christmas with his family under any circumstances. John was very conflicted about the whole matter. He said that his parents are great people and that Thanksgiving and Christmas are all he has with them. This has been by far the biggest strain in our relationship, and I can feel John and I moving apart. I don't know how to discuss this with John, and I need help. I've never done this before, and for the first time, I'm going to the internet with this issue instead of John. What can I do to fix this situation? Am I being irrational with my demands? Are you being irrational with your demands? After the guy poured a bucket of red paint on you at your wedding, like they did in the movie Carrie? The movie where she murders everyone at the end of the movie? I mean, spoiler alert and everything, but the movie's like 40 years old at this point, so sorry. OP, your brother-in-law is straight up sexually harassing and assaulting you, and you have every right to defend yourself against this. I'm honestly surprised by your husband's behavior. I mean, you say he's such a great guy, but it doesn't sound like he's doing much to protect you from his brother. If anything, he's making excuses for his brother's behavior and enabling it. Down in the comments of this thread, people are recommending that OP get a restraining order against her brother-in-law, and I'm inclined to agree. Honestly, the more I think about this, the less I like your husband. If my brother threw red paint on my wife during my wedding, then I would never make my wife be in the same room as him again. In fact, I might not even talk to him ever again. Your husband is not standing up for you and protecting you from his brother's disgusting behavior. So yeah, my girlfriend is pretty chill and I thought she was a nice person. You'll have to take my word for it that this is totally out of her character. I was sitting in her garage, and I should probably mention that we were pretty high. She was smoking a cigarette and her dog came over. I think it's actually her brother's dog mainly, but obviously she's around the dog a lot, and so is everyone else in the house. She was petting the dog, and she sort of burned the dog under his chin. It seemed like it was an accident, but she started laughing immediately after the dog yelped. The dog stood far away from her and was very wary of her after that. She called him over like, I'm sorry. Come on, boy, come here." He wouldn't come. She was still laughing a little when she said to me, "If he comes back, I'm totally gonna do it again." I mean, it was just so casual the way she did this, and it kinda horrified me. Do you think this is a huge red flag? Should I break up with her over this? Because I'm having trouble looking at her the same way after this happened. I was looking back at things, and sometimes she can be a little mean. There's a few examples, but I remember we both saw this bicycle rider get hurt close up, and she was laughing when she saw it, but I thought that was just her way of dealing with seeing a traumatic thing. Now I'm starting to wonder, but I'm also really worried for that dog because I love animals, and that made me feel terrible. What should I do? I'm a 20-year-old male, by the way. OP, have you never watched one of those psychological thriller detective shows? Because I thought it was pretty common knowledge that enjoying torturing animals is one of the hallmark signatures of a psychopath. You need to run, not walk, to the nearest exit immediately. Also, please let her brother know what she did to that dog, because this probably isn't the first time that she's abused it. It's just the first time that you've seen the abuse. Long story short, 3 weeks ago, I walked into my 20-year-old girlfriend making out and performing adult acts on my teammate and a friend of mine at a party. I was supposed to be at work, but I was lucky to leave work early. I left without saying anything, and my girlfriend followed me and begged me for forgiveness and another chance, saying she'll do anything to fix it. Saying it was a one-time mistake, she was drunk and she wouldn't do that while sober, and she's very sorry. I'm numb, heartbroken, my mind is all over the place. Since we lived together, I left the house and asked for some space, and then I came back the next day. She went to pick something up from the kitchen, and a message popped up on her phone. It's my friend making fun of me and asking if I bought her BS. I go through the messages and find out about their affair, which has been going on for a month. I confront her, and she admits to cheating. She then broke down crying, saying she's sorry, that it didn't mean anything, that she was lonely because I work a lot, and that she wanted to break it off, and she only loves me, blah blah blah. I love her very much. I love her mom and younger sister, my parents love her, but I broke up with her and gave her 2 months to move out. I quit the team and I've started the process of moving out. The thing is, she's an exchange student. Her mother's a widow, and I've been financially supporting her as well as paying for her college. My parents want me to forgive her, and her mom also wants me to forgive her, because to them, she just made a mistake and she was immature, and she also deals with chronic depression. She's one of those wonderful, extra caring, hypersensitive women who almost everyone likes. My team doesn't want to suspend or expel the other guy and wants us to act professional for the team and not to bring personal matters to the team. They're begging me to forgive him and stay with the team as I'm their best goalkeeper. The other guy is a recovering addict who has trouble getting a job and basically plays for our club to make a living. He's also one of our best players and the coach's nephew. I play to earn some extra money. I don't really know what to do. Should I just suck it up for everyone else? OP, a month-long affair isn't a mistake. It's a continuous deceptive act. Please dump your girlfriend and cut that friend out of your life. If that means quitting the team, then please quit the team. And I want to be clear about this. Your girlfriend does not think of you as a boyfriend. She thinks of you as a meal ticket who's funding her lifestyle. I can't believe that you called your girlfriend extra caring. She's a lying, cheating, toxic woman. That was rSlash relationship advice, and if you like this content, then check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.